call him Wirt.
That's gonna be really confusing.
No, I'm gonna call you Kitty.
What? Maybe I'll start calling you Candy Pants.
Whoa, yeah! Good one, Wirt.
Thanks.
I'm not talking to you.
So, Over the Garden Wall is one of my favorite series of all time. And when Trina told me that she was making a female cute version of Greg, I couldn't resist asking her, very politely, if I could join her on the project, and she very kindly, by her own free will, accepted me to join her project. So I'm making a female cute Wirt to go with her Greg. So I took a full day of my holiday to sketch up an idea, took some inspiration from Edwardian fashion, and I also wanted every piece that I made to be usable outside of the costume. Because I've always wanted a cute linen shirt, and for some reason I've always wanted to make a cape. Not entirely sure why, but I'm guessing it has something to do with Edna. I finally got all of my materials, so I'm really ready to start. So come on, let's go. I decided to make the top skirt first, both because it's the easy part, but also because I had some materials at home. What I found was a fall suede fabric with a very nice fall and comfortable, stretchy fit. I barely had enough materials to make it. When I tell you I was sweating, you cannot realize how much. It was a little long on the first test, but I can work with this. With this fabric, the buttons would probably not be necessary, but it didn't really look right without them, so buttons it is. For some reason, I also decided to make a 3/4 circle skirt, which I realized I have never done before, and that took me an extra hour just to double check everything. And would you look at that? I just think it's neat. Now, second test. Much better. And look at all that stretch for all that good lunch. On to the next, the underskirt. I bought this lovely trim in Spain, and now I'm hoping I bought enough. I wanted a full underskirt with 3 rows of trim. I copied the pattern from the first skirt and just made it slightly longer, just like that. After checking myself out in the mirror and procrastinating a little bit, it was time to hem the waistline and add a wide elastic. I also added a stretchy straight stitch on top. As you can see in this clip, I obviously did not buy enough trim, but I realized I had this beautiful gold trim left from a trip to Japan in like 2014. A few hours later of sticking myself with a needle, I had successfully added 2 more rows of trim. I then needed to decide if 1, I should add horsehair braid, and 2, if it needed a tulle skirt underneath. I decided against the horsehair, but I said yes to the dress. For the shirt, I went with a soft off-white linen. I wanted lots of pleating and ruching, and I somehow wanted to incorporate the shirt collar, even if it did have dropped shoulders. I also added some nods to Wirt's black bow tie with the corseted black arms. As you can see, the bust needed a hell of a lot more fabric than the basic pattern said, and that is to accommodate for all those pleats. It needed to be at least 3 times longer than the base to get the effect that I wanted. This shirt took so much longer to make than anticipated, mostly because I later realized I had ordered way too little fabric, and then halfway through I also accidentally started making a different shirt and had myself a little mental breaky deciding what to do. I had also somehow pushed back my memories of just how long pleating takes to do. Thank goodness I had a good show, or 3, to watch while doing this. And we have some sleeves, big enough to hide these enormous guns of steel. I now have the sleeves, front piece and back piece of the shirt. I still need to add the elastic to the waist and some sort of trim to the underbust, attach the sleeves and hem the top with elastics as well. And here's my tiny shirt collar and black velvet sleeve details, so impressed. Just making sure the velvet is velveting. And about 1,000 needles later, the base is sewn together. Left to do is the eyelets for the sleeves and the buttons. That should be easy. Wrong. My eyelet stitch on my machine refused to work correctly on this velvet, so I ended up having to do them by hand. And when I tell you that I stopped keeping track of time after 8 hours, I don't want to talk about it. I then added my leather strap to the details, and of course, I was so thorough with the hand sewing that I had to use pliers just to help me get the strap through. But hey, it works, and if it works, it works. Well, thank goodness the buttons were as easy as they're supposed to be. And with that, we have a shirt. Felt very cutesy and very happy. Worth it. For the hat, I wanted to make something smaller. I thought about some felted goblin and fairy hats and decided to give it a go. Finding the right felt and color turned out to be tricky though, so I went with this obnoxious red and some extra interfacing. We then turn it right side out and start shaping it the way that I want. Keeping an eye on the silhouette as I go and hand sew it in place. The first test felt really good. The shape looks just like I hoped. But oh, he's a little sad and wrinkly if you press on him. That's less good. So I stuffed him with cotton like a turkey and voila, only happy little wrinkles now. To get the right shade of red, I decided to try out a new tip I had gotten, mixing acrylics with regular softener to make fabric paint. The mixture of acrylic paint and softener is about 50-50, but you could add more softener to make a less vibrant color. They also told me that once this dries, it is even washing machine safe. But I haven't had the chance to try that just yet. So if you do, please tell me if it works. And holy thunderburger, Mr. President, would you look at that? It looks so much better. Last, and certainly the largest, the cape. I took inspiration from the 60s types of capes, and in my first sketch I painted this with a hood, but later realized that Wirt doesn't have a hood, so I decided to make it detachable. I couldn't find any good patterns that didn't also break my bank, so I kind of just guesstimated the width and shape of all the pieces, hoping I won't make any mistakes. But as we say in Swedish, "Ski den som ger sig." Mistakes are for the brave. Let's just go all in. I chose a red lining, of course, to match Wirt's own cape, but I did go with an extra blue band inside of the hoodie and front panels, both to help keep up the shape, but also because I personally like the look better. And the first test, not too bad. It's a little long and the arms need to be moved, but I don't need to cut any new pieces. So now I can adjust and sew together my lining as well. And as a good girly, I also added some hidden pockets to the lining, big enough to fit my phone and wallet. Second test. The lining is mostly attached, but open at the hem so I can embroider it properly first. And here you can see that extra blue band on the inside of the front panels that I mentioned earlier. The part that took the absolute longest to make on this costume was definitely the embroidery. It took several days and I constantly asked myself if this was gonna be worth it, but it just felt a little empty and plain without it, and I wanted to put my own little whimsical flair on it, and I did look forward to doing it until I was approximately 20 hours in. I also took a small break to add some buttons and lacing, and then back to the embroidery, working with blues, oranges and browns. But look, it's kinda cute, isn't it? I know, you could do it on machine, but I'm a sucker for a handmade look. And then we just hand sew the lining and hem together, and I'm done. Are you sure? Okay, it's time to try everything on together at the same time. for the first time. And also, these shoes I found at secondhand for €3. I love them. Should I add pockets? Or maybe straps to ruffle up the skirts like a pirate? Maybe later. I love how the shirt sits, and that the shoulders can be both up and dropped. And there's the hoodie. I forgot to film that. Oh well. And here's the little pockets I made. Perfect size for those nasty little secrets and audacity you're bound to stumble upon during the day. And all together now, just missing the wig. And without the hood, okay guys, it's time. We can finally pack. Let's go to Unicorn and Austria and meet Tina. I'm now meeting up with Trina, and look how cute she is! Oh, this is gonna be great! We got a tip from locals of a location, and we bribed our friend Chris Khan to come out with us and take some photos. And y'all, they good. Well, I'm just gonna let him work his magic. I'll be right back.
Thank you so much for joining, you guys. I hope you like it, and I'm gonna show you some of the photos. They're so good. And if you want to see more, you can see it on Instagram. Bye.
Done. We did it. That's a rock.